Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another Marvel vs. System unboxing. This is for Masters of Evil. So this is going to be the beginning of the Darkness and Light story arc, Volume 4, Issue number 1. The issues 2 and 3, which are finishing up the arc, are Mystic arcs, which will focus on magical characters. And the last one is, I believe it's called is it Light and Darkness? Might have been that. I forgot what the last one was called. But it has like vampires, good and bad. So you're gonna get like characters like Blade and then Deacon Frost. It's kind of a mixture of the two. So this is like Masters of Evil is gonna focus on just bad guys. Mystic Arts and Light in the last set are gonna focus on good and bad characters that kind of come from the supernatural area. This is kind of cool. This is going to have a brand new team of the Masters of Evil, so we're going to get another evil team, which is good because we have a lot more good teams than we do evil. I think overall they usually try and bounce them, but I think we got more. So having another evil team is not a bad idea. Although, that being said, not every single card in here is necessarily evil. But we'll take a look at that. So what does our little thing here say? Kicks off with a polarizing story arc blending the forces of good and evil. First up are true Masters of Evil, dastardly collection of the most nefarious villains banded together with an all-new team affiliation. Alright. So, speaking of that, gang, our very first character is, again, not even necessarily a bad guy. He's an Avenger. Dr. Hank Pym. I only say necessarily a bad guy because he did create a bunch of bad things throughout the years. He created Ultron. He also became Yellow Jacket for a while, which he wasn't necessarily evil, but he didn't always do the right things. Yeah, he's caused some problems over the years. But generally, he's a good character. So we have AKA Ant-Man and Giant Man. Research, draw a card. Discovery of a lifetime. When Hank does research, he gains 1 XP. When he levels up, he can level up to either a level 2 Ant-Man or Giant Man. So you have to do this ability 3 times. And then he basically discovers his Pym particles. So he can become Ant-Man, who is also AKA Giant Man. Pym particle increase. Pay a blue or yellow. Ant-Man transforms into the Avengers version, Giant Man level 2. Or shrink. When Ant-Man gets attacked for the first time each turn, you may cancel the attack. So he's a 4 attacker with a 10 defensor. Or he can switch into Giant Man. Becomes AKA Ant-Man. In Pym particle decrease, he can transform into that other Ant-Man or grow. When Giant Man attacks for the first time each turn, he gets 7/7 as combat. So normally he's 7/7, but he can be 14/14. So that's really a fun little way to play around with him, is that he can become one or the other. This could be a card where what you could potentially do then is have your level 1 Hank Pym and then have Ant-Man, Giant Man sleeved together back to back, and then you could just flip one over to the other as you switch from one to the other rather than keep pulling out a second card, because they can only switch from one to the other. So it's always an idea. Alright, now we've went through the Avenger, let's jump into our Masters of Evil, which of course is going to be headed up by Baron Zemo, who the symbol is based off of. I've waited decades for this. Build, you may pay 1 less to recruit a Master of Evil supporting character this turn. And Master of Evil, when you recruit a Master of Evil character, he gains equal to its printed cost. And then when he levels up, he's going to gain a bunch of abilities. So you can still pay 1 less to keep recruiting them, and he has X marks the spot. Choose an enemy row, then choose 1. Adhesive X. The character there are immobile until your next turn. Formula X, characters there can't strike this turn, or Particle X, destroy each equipment there. And I think Immobile X just means they can't, immobile, you can't move during your formation step. So that's kind of a neat little ability there. Plus the ability you can keep recruiting his characters for cheaper, which also is fun because being a newer set, like we're currently right now, it's a newer set. They don't have more characters for this or an add-on. Usually, when they've been doing brand new teams, they've been having another box that they know is going to be coming up, or they have like the other expansions have more characters for this. Just makes it a little bit easier to play some of them. Up next, we have the Crimson Cowl, who, aka Ultron, who has a gas pellet pistol. Choosing enemy supporting character, Crimson Cowl could attack, then choose one. Let's zoom in on this a little bit better. Sleeping gas, daze the character. Lethal gas, wound that character until it has one remaining health. And it's acquire blueprints. When in Avengers matching special location, Crimson Cowl gains 1 XP. Yeah, so it's interesting. You have to play that special Avengers Mansion location, which is available in a different set. I was trying to see if it said what set it's from. I don't believe it says it. It does not. Yeah, you have to look at which set it is. I want to say I think it's from, might be from one of the base sets, but I'm not for sure. Alright, here we have Ultron, so he becomes Ultron. Infiltrate the mansion. Ultron can use Avengers Mansion to pay for superpowers. Eye emitters. Choose an enemy supporting character. Ultron could attack, then choose one. Hypno beam. Ready that character and move it to your side until the end of your turn. Move it back. Or Ultra Blast. Wound that character. That's fun. We get a different Ultron. So we've had the basic Ultron. Now we get a new Ultron to play around with. Alright, our first supporting character, like usual, we have 4 copies unless otherwise stated. We're going to have Melter. Melting Ray. Melter gains +5 attack this combat. You may KO an equipment on the defender. If the defender has Iron in its name, it can't strike back in combat. So that's fun. Iron Man, Ironheart, Iron Patriot. I think there's an Iron Hulkbuster, if it's listed as Iron Hulkbuster. Alright, then we have 4 copies of Ultron, who has Swarm. You have any number of characters named Ultron on your side, this power can't be turned off. And Living Automaton. When another character with Swarm appears on your side, if it shares a name with a character on your side, draw a card. So that's fun. We have Tiger Shark, who has Tough. When Tiger Shark gets stunned, you may recover him. He still gets a wound. And Adamantium Teeth. When Tiger Shark strikes an enemy character in melee combat, if he doesn't stun it, put 2 -1/-1 counters on it. So basically, if he doesn't take them out completely, he at least can wound them, which is an interesting little idea. Whirlwind. The human top. Whirlwind can't be struck in combat. Not every character is going to get a ton of super crazy abilities. Radioactive Man. Hard Radiation. At the end of your turn, put a -1/-1 counter on each character in the row in front of Radioactive Man. And Radioactive Blast. Double the -1/-1 counters on enemy front row characters. This can also hurt you as well. So if he's in your back row, it'll affect your front row. But if he's in the front row, it'll affect the other player's front row. Absorbing Man. Crusher Creel. The most dangerous guy in the world. At the start of your main phase, you may choose a basic location on any side with a name you haven't chosen for this character in this game. If you do, he gains a falling until the start of the next turn. Academy, he gains Genius, so you can draw extra cards. Fortress, he gains 5 attack defense. Laboratory gives him range. Stealth, Training Ground gives him stealth, which lets him attack the back row without being attacked back. Earth gives him tough, and space gives him indestructible. Tough and indestructible. Indestructible means he can't be wounded, and tough says if he gets stunned, he may recover. You can just keep building up abilities. We have Claw, who also has indestructible, who can't be wounded. Sound Generation. Push a front row enemy character to its back row and it loses and can't gain powers this turn. Then our final 4 supporting characters are all one of a kind, and they require a main character from Masters of Evil. It is the Wrecking Crew. I'm hoping at some point that the Wrecker becomes a main character so you can use the other 3 as support characters. That would be really fun. But we start with Bulldozer, who has, so these all have really interesting special abilities. So I might just have to hold these up so there's a small text. He has a Wrecking Helmet. Bulldozer may melee attack an enemy resource row. When he strikes a resource row, KO a number of random locations that are equal to his attack. Then replace them with cards from the top of that player's deck face down. Wrecking Crew. Bulldozer has +2/+2 for each other Wrecking Crew character on your side. So the more Wrecking Crew characters, they're going to get stronger, but he can attack your resource row and destroy stuff there. Then we will have Pile Driver, who has Wrecking Hands. He can melee attack enemy hands. When he strikes a hand, discard any number of random cards that are equal to his attack, and that player draws that many cards. Thunderball. Can melee attack enemy decks. When he strikes an enemy deck, put that number of random cards from the top equal to its attack into that KO pile. And finally, we have the Wrecker himself, who has Wrecking Bar. Can melee attack enemies' decks, hands, and resource rows. And he has +2, so he can choose which one. So that's a fun, interesting abilities for all of them. They're only one of a kind, so you're not going to get a ton of them out. Or be able to find them super easy. But they're definitely interesting characters. Like I said, it'd be neat if they had Wrecker as a main character. And it just says you can't use his supporting one. You could use his supporting one, but you had to find the other 3. That'd be fun as well. Alright, then we're going to have some plot twists for the Masters of Evil, called Masters of Evil. Look at the top card. Look at cards from the top of your deck equal to the highest cost of an evil supporting character on your side. Put any number of the top of your deck and the rest on the bottom. So basically you can find what you need. And we have Out of Time. Build, remove your main character and an enemy player's main character from the game with their counters and equipment. At the start of your next turn, each of those characters' owners puts that character onto their side. I'm not really sure the entire point of this card. I guess you can like get out away for a turn so you can't be damaged. But since it affects your opponent too, I'm not really sure the whole entire reasoning for it. Again, you can probably build decks around it. I just don't get it. And then we have Overwhelm. Each attacker on your side gets +1/+1 this combat for each attacker on your side. And these are all exclusive team links for there. And then we're also going to get the team affiliation for Zemo Castle. This one works for Masters of Evil characters or a character with Zemo in its name. Because there's also going to be other Baron Zemos. Like in the Thunderbolt set, you get Heimlich Zemo or Helmet Zemo. Yeah, so that's the Masters of Evil. Some interesting new characters. You could definitely mix into your evil decks. There's our deck list again. Plus, if you want a new Avenger main character, you can get that as well. More Ultrons will work well with the original Ultrons, so you can mix and match them. You can only still include up to 4 Swarm cards in your deck, but you can have 2 of these or 2 of the other ones, so those are always fun as well. But yeah, that is the beginning of this series. Check out the other videos. See you guys later. Bye.